Hey, what's up everyone? Trader Tim from eminymine.com doing a trade recap video 10/10/2019 and let's dive right in. Today's Thursday and we are in this really big triangle on the ES, like really big. If we go out to a weekly chart, you can even see it forming with this higher lows, series of higher lows, and then we have this double top and it's not quite as apparent on the weekly chart. We can see that rising lows and then the top forming. So if I draw something like this as a trend line, and then the high gives you kind of that ascending triangle. And if I go back to the daily chart on the ES, you can see a little bit more of a traditional triangle where we're coming more towards the apex as opposed to highs. So the next couple of days, or at least Friday and then into the couple of days early next week, should be pretty telling on how we break from this triangle. It would make sense at this point that we continue higher, but first we have to break the swing high at 29.59, and that also coincides with the 61.8 short. I've got a couple of these yellow lines on the chart. Those are the unfilled gaps. Today we filled the gap up here. And then we have this is the next unfilled gap below us. And so, and then above us we have this, this is the open. So the swing high, let's see, just going through my list of gaps. Um, we've got the swing high here at 59s, and then this is just the next swing high at 29.34. So that's not an unfilled gap, but the next swing high up. So let's talk a little bit about today's intraday trades. And as we look at the first 30-minute range, it was a pretty big first 30-minute range, which, I was thinking, oh, before I do that, I was looking at, okay, yesterday's high was at 29.2950. So that was right about here that we broke it. And we did set up in a retracement there right at about the 20-minute mark. So we pulled back and we broke yesterday's high, and then we pulled back to yesterday's high, and that was a pretty nice setup. There was a very early setup, and as most of you know, I don't trade in the first 15 minutes, at least with day trades on the ES. And then after that, we didn't get a pullback. And so, other than waiting for a full halfway back, this was really the only opportunity to get into a long position, at least on a pullback. These first couple didn't really make it down into their 50 all the way, but getting that kind of third push up did get a pullback, and that was a pretty nice 29.30 long. Um, from here, so we broke highs of yesterday, and that was important because, if you're inside the prior day's range, there's a much better chance of range-bound activity. And so we had this push up, and then this 29.30 went all the way to like a 38, and then we had a double top at highs, and this was not met by a high tick at highs. We had actually a 50. So right in here, before, I guess I should mention, as this was setting up here, what initially I was looking at this as a short because we had the high tick that lined up 650 with the high price, and then we had the double top. So I'm thinking, okay, great. If we can come down and break this swing low, then I'd be all about the short. But then what happened? We made the high tick, it lined up for a brief second, and then we immediately made a high price after the high tick. And that means that we could continue on into new highs. And we did that. We also did not break the swing low, so that's when I shifted gears and switched to the long side. But then over here, we were right at the top of the first 30-minute range. So this one took me up, trailed the 61.8 like this, and then we kind of this one didn't quite hit the negative 23. If you use this guy up here, this is the kind of the anchor point that did hit the negative 23. So using that 61.8 as the trail stop, you could also just trail the swing lows. That's fine as well. So that takes us all the way up to this swing low up here. And this was the point where exiting the long below this swing low, and or you could use this as well, but this is the low between the double top, and this double top here did not correspond with any kind of high ticket highs, but it did correspond with the top of the first 30-minute range. And with such a big first 30-minute candle, I was thinking, well, there's a really good chance that we're going to be in a range for the rest of the day within this 23-point first candle. So even though we didn't have a high ticket highs, we did come down and break the swing low, and I felt that that warranted a short. Traded down to its negative 23 and a little bit more, but it did take me out as I trailed my stop on the developing 60-1/8 here, like so. So got a first target, negative 23, a little bit of follow through on that one. And then we went into this odd pattern where we couldn't really make a new high, but we were just sort of treading water up here. I drew up the long like this, but I wanted to see us make a new high. I was originally looking for us to do something like this, where we break highs and then pull back to the top of the first 30-minute range, if it was going to go higher. But remember, at this point in the day, I'm thinking, okay, well, probably going to be range bound most of the day. We got a first leg down and then this little rally. So originally drawing up the long like this was just a way to see when the shorts would be in play again. And that would mean breaking the 60-1/8. If that happened, then I would have gone ahead and gone for another short. But we never got that. And then we kind of, my time kind of ran out at the 90-minute mark, and we never got a pullback anywhere up here. So that's kind of how my day played out and how I looked at the first 30-minute range as well as the prior day's high to make intraday trading decisions. I did want to touch on my Home Depot swing trade. Now this is switching gears over to stock trades. With multiple trail stop approaches, trailing each candle's low, trailing the swings. I don't really trail the developing 60-1/8 when I swing trade, but what I like to do is start conservative. So I got long back here the first time, or one time ago, and letting the trade, so then putting my stop below the swing low, letting it kind of push up and pull back is okay. So keeping my stop below the swing low and let it kind of digest or chop around a little bit. And then once we start to make, so we make a high, we pull back, and then we make a new high, at least above the swing high that was put in, not necessarily an all-time high, if that makes sense. Then you can switch gears to start, or then I switch gears and start trailing each candle's low. And that was taken out over here on this day on the open here. And then another long setup here, nice little hammer formation. Again, putting my stop below the low of that entry candle, but then letting it kind of take those first few days to get away from my entry. We make a high here, then we pull back for a couple days and solidify a higher low. And then now I can switch gears and start trailing underneath each candle's low. So right now I got my stop below here at 228.95. So we'll see if that goes any higher the rest of the week. But hey, at least it's already above my break even, and if we can get up here into some new highs with the market, then that might turn into a nice little trade. So That's what I've got going on this week and today. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Next week, Tuesday, we'll be doing a live trading session as usual. You can check that out at eminimind.com/VIP.